All right. So now we're gonna go through these two examples right here. All right. Now what we want to do is we want to write an equation of this line in slope intercept form. Okay. So what we're gonna do is the first thing we're gonna find is our slope, and with both of these, you're gonna find that we get some kind of bizarre things going on here, right? So my slope for this one, y2 minus y1. All right, I'm going to write it down once. We got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My slope is 6 minus a negative 7 all over 4 minus 4. And when I simplify that, I get 13 over 0. Now, the problem with this is you can't divide by 0, right? As the numbers get smaller and smaller, you divide by them, they get that your answer, your quotient, gets closer and closer to infinity, right? Or not closer to it. You can't actually get close to infinity because infinity just keeps going on. But it just gets bigger, 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 and it keeps getting bigger, and it will continue to get bigger. So you can never actually get to a number if you divide by 0. So that's why this is undefined, okay? And now when we have an undefined slope, right? What that means is it it doesn't have there's no number there. But it also means because it's a straight up and down line, right? And so I'm trying to come up with a way to explain this and kind of struggling with it. So I think what we need to remember is when you have something that's undefined slope, you are dealing with a vertical line. So we have talked about this, right? You're dealing with a vertical line. And when you have a vertical line, the equation of any vertical line is always x equals something, right? And it's the number of where it goes through. So it's your x-intercept, right? Not your y-intercept, your x-intercept. And if you look at this problem, you can see that your x is the same here and here. And if you put more points down that were on the line, they would all have an x coordinate of 4. So your x-intercept basically has to be that coordinate. So the equation of this line is x equals 4. All right. Now letter D will be a little easy to explain. This one's a little tough. D is a little simpler. All right, and not quite as ugly. So we're going to do the same thing where you have x1, y1, x2, y2. We'll go -1 minus -1 because you do y2 minus y1. That's this. All over x2 minus x1. So we're going to go 2 minus 3. And so I get 0 on top because this becomes positive. And you get -1 plus 1. Well, that's 0. And then 2 minus 3 is -1. So 0 divided by anything is 0. So basically this means we have no slope, right? It's a flat line. So it is a horizontal line. Now this one, let's say we plug in what we know. Well, if it's a horizontal line, right, my slope is 0. So we have 0 times x, right? And my y-intercept is, where is this thing going through the y-axis? Well, we know where it's going through the y-axis. It's going through the y-axis at -1. Even though it's not here, it's going to stay that way, right? But let's say we didn't know that. So what we would do in most cases is we would say, okay, pick one of these points and let's solve for this. So let's do that and see what happens. We put -1 here, right? And then we go 0 times your x. Well, your x is 3, and I'm using the simpler slope-intercept technique with this, the direct substitution. Well, 0 times 3 is 0. So you get -1 is equal to b. And now when you write your equation, you have y equals, well, your slope is 0, 0x minus 1. Well, 0 times x, 0 times anything, is 0. And 0 minus 1 is -1. So you're left with y minus 1. So this is a lot like this one over here, where all you have to do when you recognize that this is a horizontal line is your equation is going to be y equals whatever your y coordinate is. Vertical line is x equals whatever your x coordinate is. Y, your horizontal line is y equals whatever your y coordinate is, and that's a given. It will work every time. All right. So I hope this is helpful to you, and we're gonna have one more video, and we'll see you there.